tapping into the family anchor isn't about melodrama or emotional manipulation. You know how much I hate that. It's about simply taking the resulting consequences of the defendant's actions and translating them into human terms. Welcome to the Foster Your Voice podcast with me, Kristi Foster. After a 30-year career in music and theater, I never imagined I'd be coaching trial attorneys. But once I entered your world, I quickly realized how critical and underutilized voice is in the courtroom. The truth is, you don't win trials with brute strength. You win with your voice. I'll give you tools to unlock your voice so you can communicate not just with purpose, but on purpose. If you want quick action tips to help you stay calm and in control, keep jurors engaged, and inspire your listeners to action, all through the power of your voice, you're in the right place. I'm Kristi Foster, and I'm here to help you foster your voice. Hello, Foster fam. Welcome back to another episode of the Foster Your Voice podcast. I'm Kristi Foster, your host. Now, today we're continuing our series on familiar anchors with part 3, family. So let's just get right into it. Now, remember, familiar anchors are the topics that are common to everyday people, and they're part of the human experience. They're super relatable because we all have a schema for them. And the idea here is that jurors need your case to relate to their life somehow. It is just unlikely that everyone in your jury pool is there with intimate personal knowledge about safety regulations at a construction site, or the details of detecting hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy. I have to practice saying that. So you have to find a common ground. You have to find case principles that can relate to everyone so that all jurors feel like they can play and be a valuable part in the justice process. So we began the series a couple weeks ago with unpacking the health anchor. Then last week, we looked at wealth, and today we're doing a deep dive into family. So that's 3 of the 4. We'll cover the 4th one next week. Now, this is one of the deepest anchors, family, because humans are profoundly relational creatures. When we're talking about family, we're not just talking about the people we're related to. It's way deeper than that. We're tapping into the impact of having those connections. So family represents ideas about belonging, responsibility, caregiving, protection, a legacy, attachment, and having a particular role to play. Now, regardless of whether you came from a nurturing, loving home life, or if that home of origin is a source of difficult memories and emotional wounding, there is something innate to the human experience that we long for healthy family experiences. We instinctively know in our core what being part of a good family looks like. And the things that I just listed are represented by this ideal, and they're universal. Everyone wants to belong. Everyone understands responsibility and the need to feel protected. Now, importantly, when we're talking about relating the concepts to actual people, family doesn't only mean your spouse and children. It's parents, grandparents, siblings, even chosen family. Even just the fact that we have this concept of chosen family as a cultural, acceptable, and lived out experience confirms just how deep the anchor of family is. It's caregiving roles, community dependence, and generational responsibility even. It directly ties in with aging and our own sense of mortality, the desire to have dignity as we move into the last days, both for ourselves and for our loved ones. And it ties into future planning as we try to leave things better for the next generation, leave a legacy. These are deep, like soul-touching anchors. When we connect to the family anchor, jurors are likely to want answers to questions like, well, how did this affect relationships? Could they still show up for people? What changed in the home? And this is often where damages can become emotionally relevant and very real. So let's just be clear here. Tapping into the family anchor isn't about melodrama or emotional manipulation. You know how much I hate that. It's about simply taking the resulting consequences of the defendant's actions and translating them into human terms. The jurors need you to help with the translation. They need for you to lay the platform of permission for them and for you to connect the dots. So here's an example. First, let's just give a factual statement. After the injury, he could no longer perform household tasks. There we go. Facts. Clean, simple, but detached and cold. So let's take that same factual statement, but this time let's reframe it and restate it within a family anchor. His daughter stopped asking him to play outside because she learned the answer would be no. Can you feel the difference in that? Of course. The first has no impact. The second clearly showcases the impact and the human connection. Here's just a few more examples. This didn't just happen to him. It happened to his whole family. You don't clock out of being a mom. You don't get a vacation from fatherhood. He missed birthdays, soccer games, Sunday dinners, not because he wanted to, but because he couldn't move. Imagine trying to rock your baby to sleep when your arm is in constant pain. That's the kind of moment that gets stolen. Can you hear the anchoring into family? It just helps paint a clear picture of the before and after and why a just verdict is so important. And that clarity and guidance is welcomed by the jury. They're longing for it. They're looking to you to guide them. Hey, real quick, if your jurors look confused when you say liability, standard of care, or damages, they're not tuning out because they don't care. They're tuning out because they don't speak law. I've put together a free guide called Top 20 Legal Terms to Avoid and What to Say Instead. It'll help you simplify your language without losing credibility, so your message actually lands. Download it now at fostervoicestudio.com/top20 or click the link in the show notes. All right, back to the episode. I'm going to share a pet peeve with you, but just be forewarned, because when I do, you're going to start noticing it too, and it might ruin some of your experience. So just FYI, here it is. The thing that annoys me to no end, are you ready? Loud breathing. Now, there's a brain-based disorder called misophonia, which is the extreme hatred and actually the physiological distress caused by the sounds of chewing, slurping, or heavy breathing. Misophonia is literally translated to hatred of sound. And it is a neurological condition where everyday trigger noises prompt disproportionately intense reactions like anger, panic, or an urge to flee even. For those with misophonia, Those specific sensory inputs overload the nervous system and trigger a fight or flight response. So I'm not making light of that condition. But also, that's not really what I'm talking about when I say loud breathing is a pet peeve. I'm talking about the loud breathing during a presentation, or when someone's singing, when they're not grounded in their bodies and they're not preparing in enough time. The result is a noisy catch breath. And here's why it bothers me so much. First, it is an additional sensory input that adds unnecessary cognitive load. Okay, but it's just a breath sound, Kristi. What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is that your jurors have a cognitive load threshold, and you want as much of it to be available for your content. But their cognitive load is being taxed with the environment they're in, with the emotional and mental demands of serving on jury duty. Every gesture you make, every sound that is uttered, all of it is filtering through their brains and is requiring translation or deciphering. So don't add more to it with your noisy breathing. Second, you've heard me say many, many times how your breath is contagious. If you are breathing loud, quick, and short, so will they. And that quick, short breathing is keeping your sympathetic nervous system elevated. And not just yours, theirs too. Revved up sympathetic systems will stir up fight, flight, freeze responses. And that's not the state you want your jury in when it comes time for decision making. Your loud, quick catch breaths are just irresponsible. I know that's a dramatic hot take, but I'm not wrong. Finally, I just feel bad for you. When I hear loud breaths, I know that you're not grounded. I also know that you're going to get dehydrated. You're going to dry out your vocal cords, so your brain will sense the distress and it will heroically send phlegm to help lubricate, which will then make you have to clear your throat. And then you're going to be caught in a vicious cycle. Plus, because your mouth will dry out, you'll start licking your lips. Try to create moisture. And well, it just looks weird. We've all seen it in presenters. And instead of paying attention, relating to the material, and really emotionally and cognitively investing in your case, we'll be internally screaming, "Get a drink of water or something!" So please, inhale silently, for sure before transitions of sections in your opening, but also just all the time. Silent breaths create those clean chapter breaks in your narrative that help jurors cognitively follow along. And your system stays online and you stay in control. It's a win-win. So get your breathing under control and pipe down, for crying out loud. Until next time, keep fostering your voice. Thanks for pulling up a seat with me today and for being part of the Foster fam. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, go ahead and leave a review or a comment so I can give you a shout out on a future episode. During the week, you can find me on Instagram at Foster Voice Studio, where I'm dropping little nuggets of vocal technique and leadership wisdom. You can also join my mailing list by visiting fostervoicestudio.com or by clicking the link in the show notes. I'll send a weekly vocal tip every Tuesday directly to your inbox. Until then, keep fostering your voice.